What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Football Game Show brought to you by Front Yard Fantasy here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-host, John Luke Garofalo. What's up, JL?
What up?
What up, guys? Also joining us today, taking a break from the chat to come on and play some games with us. We've got our friend Dustin Ludke here. For those of you that do not know Dustin, you can find him on Twitter at the DUnit13. He's the content director over at Dynasty Pros and a contributor at Dynasty Nerds and the QB List. Dustin, we are hyped to have you here with us today, my friend.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. So I was looking back on Craig's sheet of stats and everything and realized, A, you guys don't have me on enough as you should, and I'm 1 for 1 so far. So first time on, I lost by $1, but I won the second time I was on. So happy to get this win and go 2-1 for my record.
Oh, this is for the winning record right here. Otherwise, I don't know what happens if you're 1-2. Then you just got to keep on coming back. Keep on coming back, and we call you a loser until you don't. We got some people in the chat ready for today's show. Speaking of Craig's in here saying Dustin on for Grimace's birthday can't be a coincidence. If he loses, we know it is just because of a conspiracy by those lousy oven mitt groupies. Grimace,
oven mitt groupies. Yeah, how does Grimace have a birthday?
Right?
I thought he just birthed himself.
I guess you would still have a birthday if you birthed yourself, but maybe Grimace has never been born. He is eternal. He is imminent. Grimace has always existed and always will exist. Before the universe began, there was Grimace. And when the universe ends, there is oven mitt.
Grimace.
I believe on the Twitter, someone asked, what is Grimace? And the official response is, we may never know.
We may never know. We got some other people in the chat today. Joey bailing on us. And now I know the real reason. It's so he could be in the chat on hashtag Team Dustin.
That's right.
Jay down here is foregoing all teams to be on the Grimace gang in honor of his birthday. We got Albert in here ready to hang out and play some games with us. What's up, Albert? Welcome in. Dame, hello.
What up,
hello.
Albert?
And we got Ladarius in here. Says hello, all. Victor with our daily brochacho and a reminder of what day it is. What's up, Victor? Hope you had a great weekend
Monday.
As well. And Bob Harris says, my Grimace doesn't look like that.
Well. What does it look like?
Well, that's because you've taken your medicine. My Grimace still looks like that. I'm not done with the antibiotics yet. But as soon as I'm done with those antibiotics, my Grimace should be back to looking normal. Guys, we had a question from Grim in here before we get into our games. Grim came in with an ever so important question, and I wish Joey was here for it. The Buccaneers are to wear their classic creamsicle throwback uniforms in Week 6 versus the Lions. Dustin, what do you think about these classic Buccaneers creamsicle jerseys?
I love them. I think they're really cool. I like them for one game. I don't like them for like a season. We're getting a couple throwbacks this year. I think we're getting Seahawks and I think Patriots and Eagles. So I'm excited to see them. I wish teams would coordinate and do throwback uniforms on both sides of the field. I think that'd be really cool. But I'm happy to see the creamsicle back at least for one game.
It would be funny if it was like the creamsicle, then on the other side was like the highlighter green Seahawks uniforms, just like the complete difference between old school and new school. I freaking love these creamsicle uniforms, and I'm excited they're bringing them back. And even though I unsoured on Tom Brady towards the end of his career, decided to stop hating the greatness, I will remain sour about his aversion to the creamsicle uniforms. He will not escape my sourness.
He doesn't like
them.
Oh,
he doesn't freaking like them. We got who else in here?
Other
people in here. I knew I saw someone, and that someone was a chat cat. What's up, Mr. Scampers? Welcome, my friend. Glad to have you here. Well, guys, today we brought Dustin here to play 2 rounds of the Fantasy Football Game Show. In the first round, we are going to be playing a game we call Quotey McQuoteface. It is all about identifying quotes from around the NFL that have occurred recently in the past week or so. I'm going to propose a quote, give it to one of our contestants. That contestant will have to tell me who said the quote and why the hell they said it, the context and the person. 2 points available. There's going to be a small twist. If neither person gets either part of the quote, in the next round, I am going to provide the context. You will just be able to give me the person who said it, get that, and you're going to get 1 point. So that's only if it goes back around and nobody gets anything the first time through. We will go through 6 quotes like this. Each of you are going to have 3 quotes. Your own turn to identify them. Before we go into round 2, our next game, a game we call Vague Descriptions, and one Dustin has let me know he is scared of already. This game's pretty self-explanatory.
No, I'm not scared of vague descriptions. I'm scared of Simon vague descriptions. I would have much rather had it been JL vague descriptions.
We were talking before the show, and I said maybe a more apt name for my vague descriptions is bad descriptions.
Inaccurate descriptions.
Inaccurate descriptions.
Yes.
This game is pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to vaguely describe something. I'll give you a category and then a vague description of a thing in that category. You tell me what it is. Get it right, you're going to get a point. Get it wrong, your opponent will have the opportunity to steal. We're going to go through both of these games, and whoever has the most points at the end is our champion. You guys ready to get in there?
Oh, yeah.
At what point do I have to put on a bunch of hats? Is that a requirement for today's show or no?
You should have already done that. You're 5 minutes late.
Darn, I'm late. Okay.
Yeah, where's hat number 13? Every day it goes up one. Every day we add another hat.
So wait till next year when we have finally invite Scott Fish onto the show.
Okay, that is a bold bottom choice. What a slippery bottom hat that is.
But very secure, I would imagine.
Secure.
Wildly secure. Well, before we get into our game, a couple reminders. First and foremost, if you're not already following our guest Dustin, fix that immediately. You can find him on Twitter at the DUnit13. It is not the Done It. Even though some really handsome people might have said that on stream the last time Dustin was on this show. The DUnit13. And check out his work over at the QB List. After you do that, if you're watching this video on our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell. It's the easiest way to make sure you never miss us at our new old time, 3 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. You guys ready to get in to this first game of Quotey McQuoteface?
Well, let's do it.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our first quote. JL, you are going to be going first in today's game. Are you ready? This first quote is yours.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Give it to me.
We got at some point, possibly the best corner and the best receiver in the NFL. There's a legit possibility, I think, for those two guys. Maybe not this upcoming year. I still think that Davante Adams is in a league of his own, but those two kids are so talented. Who said this and why did they say it?
Got the best corner and the best receiver in the NFL. Maybe not this upcoming year. I still think. Oh, okay. So at first I thought this might have been a Raiders guy, but I don't think this is. I think this is just a big Davante Adams stan. I'm gonna go with Derek Carr talking about his new Saints team mates.
Derek Carr talking about his new Saints teammates is a double bonk, JL. That is incorrect on both fronts. But Dustin, that means this is going to come to you with the opportunity to steal not one, but both points from this quote. Do you know who said this and why they said it?
Well, JL was on the right path with a Davante Adams stan, and the biggest Davante Adams stan I know is Aaron Rodgers, and they have two pretty good young players in Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. So this is Aaron Rodgers talking about the duo of Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner.
Well, Dustin, that would be absolutely correct. This is Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers talking of new teammates Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner.
My process was right.
Your process was right.
Wildly wrong.
Trust the process, JL. Look back on that as a success,
will not.
What you just did.
I absolutely
Dustin
will not.
may be up 2-0, but you just won that process.
Yes,
that's right.
You did.
Craig in here was the first person with a guess, but was very close. Got the context, but not the person saying it. Ladarius coming in and completing the picture with Mr. Scampers and Grimfan pulling that one out as well. Nice job, guys.
Ooh.
Dustin.
Fancy chat. Knows all the answers.
Yes, we do.
Dustin's like, Oh, you're still taking ownership of the chat sitting up here.
Yeah, I don't know that you can while you're up here.
Well, I mean, if any other day I'd be in the chat and we would all got it right. So a win for me is a win for the chat. A win for the chat is a win for me.
Dustin, do you?
We'll see. I'll throw a poll in the chat if the chat accepts your proposition or not.
Dustin, do you buy into not just what Aaron Rodgers is saying here about Garrett Wilson, but what the general consensus seems to be around Garrett Wilson's ceiling? Does he have top receiver in the NFL in his ceiling, in his range of outcomes?
I think he has it there. I just don't think he gets there with Rodgers and what else they have in that offense. They brought in Lazard. They have Breece Hall. They have other weapons that can get the ball. So he's not going to see it. I don't think he's going to see the volume that we saw from Davante Adams in those years in Green Bay. So he definitely has the potential to maybe be the most efficient wide receiver we've seen, but I don't know if he gets there just because he's not going to have the volume that I think we want to see from our top receivers.
Grim fan down here saying, "What's with the picture?" We just took his LinkedIn picture, so we didn't have to make any decisions around that. But yeah, that's the one he chooses to present himself with professionally. John Luke, do you think Aaron Rodgers is a potential value in drafts this year on a new team? He was disappointing for fantasy last year, and
he was disappointing for fantasy, but he was also on a Packers team that really didn't like setting him up for success too well. So, or too much maybe is the right word there. In New York, they were already making moves that were making them a contending team. They have been stacking leverage, just putting leverage. They've been taking the Eagles approach, and they're a good team now. We can't say the Jets are just the normal Jets anymore. And so, yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers will be fine. You plug most quarterbacks into that system who aren't named Zach Wilson, and they're probably going to do all right. Throw in a guy who's been in the Hall of Fame talks for however long. Yeah, he'll do great.
He's going to do all right in this one. Well, Dustin, after this, it is going to bring you up to 2-0, and you get first shot at the next quote, a chance to extend your lead. Let me go and get that score running across the bottom so that we can look at Dustin being in the lead for a minute here. JL, let this motivate you.
He is in the lead. That is true.
Let this motivate you. We'll
see.
Also, we got...
I break easily.
We've got Grim
Very
fan
fragile.
in here. Grim's been saying this for coming on like 12 months now. The Jets Super Bowl champs this upcoming season. So if it happens, Grim, we can go back to the first time you said it. It was a while ago, man. Dustin, you're shaking your head. And I assume that's coming from a Bills fan that can't accept a reality where they don't pull one off with the team that they have.
All I think is the Jets they're not going to win the division, right? The Bills are going to run the division. The Jets still have to make a wild card spot between Baltimore, Miami, the Chargers. Maybe the Broncos are good this year. Another team in the AFC South, let's say it's let's say Jaguars are 1, Titans are 2. Like, Jets might not even make the playoffs this year.
I feel which is hotter? Jets might miss the playoffs, or Jets will win the Super Bowl?
I think they're equally hot. I think the Jets are a team in which both of those propositions have equal hotness magnitude.
They're both relatively unlikely. They're a team that seems like too good to miss the playoffs, but not quite good enough to get over that hump. And it feels like there's a lot of teams like that this year. But what it'll probably shake out to is there will be 2 clear teams, and it'll end up being the Jets losing in the wild card round of the playoffs. We had a friend come in here, I think, talking about the other football, said, "I'm 33 years old, and from what I've seen in the world of football, Ronaldinho is the best football player in the world ever. I've not watched enough football to have a strong opinion on that, but I do remember."
But I think you're right.
As a kid, watching Ronaldinho hit like 5 consecutive balls off the top crossbar of a goal, like volleying them off of it from 30 yards back, and just thinking one day I'm going to do that. And then I didn't. So if that's a quality that makes you the best soccer player in the world, then I think you're right.
That's it. You're in.
Dustin, you ready for your quote?
I'm ready.
Here we go. "This is going to give me more opportunities to help my team win. And that's all I'm about. I'm a team guy, and I want to do whatever I can to help our team win. Making it to the Super Bowl is pretty addicting. And if I knew the formula, I would do it every year." Who said this, and why did they say it?
Man, so it's someone who has been to a Super Bowl recently. This is tough. I'm going to say, and they have a reason they're going to make more opportunities. So, and I don't know this one. This is...
Get your thinking cap on, JL. Dustin's shooting in the dark here, it looks like.
This is Travis Kelce on the addition of other receivers to the Chiefs.
Okay, well, I might have spoken too soon because, Dustin, that is 100% incorrect. No points there, not the context or the person. But I like the thought process. John Luke, do you have a guess on who said this and why they said it?
What I think is that this is somebody who's been to the Super Bowl recently, but they didn't win. And they got that taste. And they want a little bit more. So I think this has got to be someone from the Eagles. And I think I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts. I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts talking about the new Eagles rookies.
Jalen Hurts talking about the new Eagles rookies.
Oh, yeah.
Well, John Luke.
He's talking about Swift.
I'm sorry, but that is double incorrect on the context and the person. I'm going to now give the context, and you guys can tell me the person for 1 point. Context was on signing with Carolina after Super Bowl disappointment.
Oh, okay. So
Dustin,
this has got to be Miles Sanders then.
Dustin, this is Miles Sanders talking about signing with Carolina after the Super Bowl disappointment. Jail. I was tempted to give you the point because you mentioned it, but had you made the premise of the context the Super Bowl disappointment, I would have given you the point. But since it was the rookies, I decided not to. Dustin, that's going to earn you 1 additional point right there. And I did want to ask you guys about Miles Sanders. He's been Mr. over 5 yards a carry since he's been in the league. He's on a new team now that hasn't had a ton of efficiency outside of Christian McCaffrey recently. Dustin, is there excitement for Miles Sanders in this new situation, or does this lower his value?
I was huge on Miles Sanders last year. I am just as excited for Miles Sanders this year. Frank Reich runs a 1 running back system. That's the system he has. He doesn't really rotate guys in. His number 1 running back gets like 85, 90% of the carries. Miles Sanders is super efficient. So I'm excited for what he can do. He also is, he caught a ton of passes his rookie years with the same coaching staff in Philadelphia. So I'm excited for what he can do in this offense. Rookie quarterback, most likely, we assume he's going to be the one, Bryce Young. So we assume he's going to be the starter. They're going to run the ball heavy. They're going to dump it off to him out of the backfield. I'm excited for Miles Sanders, a huge value right now in drafts. I think he has top 10 potential this year.
Do you think he's going to like living in Philadelphia or Charlotte more, JL?
Philadelphia or Charlotte?
He's moving from Philadelphia to Charlotte. Those are just really different cities.
Very different.
No disrespect to Charlotte, but Charlotte.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'll disrespect Charlotte.
Philadelphia all day.
The city. I'm not disrespecting anybody named Charlotte. All the Charlottes I've ever met have been lovely.
We love your ways.
My son got hand, foot, and mouth disease from the Charlotte Kids Museum, so I'm not
hand, foot, and mouth disease.
Hand, foot, and mouth disease.
Man,
3 for 1.
Wow,
that's man.
Charlotte will get you good.
3 for 1, but we don't tell you what. Dustin
Trogo.
Dustin, that's going to move your score up to 3-0, and in a game of children who have, or in a game of, forget it. I butchered the joke. So we're just moving on.
Nailed it. In a game with children.
In a world where Simon butchers his jokes. We're on to our next quote. John Luke, this next quote is coming to you. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I didn't even reveal the picture last time. It was Miles Sanders. You guys were right. I've got obviously the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. I've got one of the best head coaches in the NFL. And also my position coach is a monster also. So just having those 3 things and me just keeping the same mindset each and every day that I want to get better and I want to break the record. And I do want to break the record. Who said this and what are they talking about?
I've got the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. I've got one of the best head coaches in the NFL. So you're just keeping me the same mindset each and every day. What record is this person talking about? Best quarterback in the NFL.
Maybe it's like
most accurate.
Maybe it's like a Kenny G record that they really hate.
Wait,
that's George Michael. Do not break a George Michael record.
All right. I've got my first thought was, actually, I don't know if I should reveal my first thought. My first thought was Saquon.
You said in a game of children.
in a game
said, where dreams are turtles.
All right. Who might be close to a record? I think let's go with can't even think of anyone right now.
Not a single person.
Not a single accurate quarterback. Who the heck is the most accurate? All right, let's go with this is Saquon Barkley. This is Saquon Barkley talking about Daniel Jones and how much he loves him.
JL, that may be true, but that is not this quote, unfortunately. Dustin, you got a shot at this one. Do you think you know who said this and why they said it?
Oh, I know who said this because it's absolutely absurd that he thinks he's the most accurate quarterback. But this is Tyreek Hill talking about possibly reaching 2,000 yards in a season, 2,000 yards receiving.
Well, Dustin, you got some people in the chat who agree with you. Albert thinks it's Tyreek Hill. Scampers thinks it's Tyreek Hill. And he says because he wants to get to 2,000 yards receiving in a season. The correct answer is Tyreek Hill on his goal of becoming the first 2,000-yard wide receiver. That is going to be 2 more points your way, Dustin.
I'm getting wrecked right now.
You got time. You got some vague descriptions to make up ground.
You've got some horrible descriptions to make up ground.
That's where I live.
Also, Victor down here said Mike Evans, LMAO. Just kidding. Yeah, with Baker Mayfield at quarterback. I don't think he said that. And Dustin, you're not buying into Tua as the most accurate quarterback. It sounds like.
That's Tyreek being Tyreek. I interviewed him a little bit at the draft. He's just that kind of like goofball who would just say things just to say things type guy. I think he loves Tua because he gets him the ball on those deep passes and he looks his way more than Mahomes did. But I don't think he's the most accurate quarterback in the league. But I don't think it's even close.
I also read it a bit. I remember when Tyreek first went to the Dolphins, he had a quote about Tua.
Very similar.
And he got ripped to shreds for it. So I think this is very tongue-in-cheek. Know what I mean? Because he even said the word obviously there. Like, it was very poking fun. Like, hey, like you're going to do it again? You're going to rip me to shreds for saying it again?
And Tyreek is a character like that. He does like to poke fun. He's very self-aware of what's going on out there. So he's definitely the type of guy that would say that. He did say that, I think when he went to Miami, he said Tua was the best quarterback he's ever played with or something along those lines. So he's definitely doing the tongue-in-cheek thing. He's that kind of character.
Griffin with the Mike Williams on Herbert guess. That's a great guess as well.
That is who as soon as I got bonked, that was my next thought was, maybe it's a Charger. Maybe it's Mike Williams.
Maybe it's a Dodge Charger.
Maybe it's a Dodge Charger. Who knows?
It's just an Avenger. What's the other one? What's the not Charger?
Avenger. Oh man, just Tony Stark's is here.
Is it a Dodge Avenger? You know,
there's a Challenger.
Challenger.
Dodge Avenger. Look that up. It's like it's the not Challenger.
Yes.
It's the one where from far away you're like, is that a no, that's not a Challenger. That's not a Challenger.
The Genesis. It's the Genesis of Dodge.
It's the Dodge Genesis. Okay, well, Dustin, you got that one correct. Meaning this next one. Which quote was that? That was quote number 3. So this next one is yours, Dustin, as well. Are you ready for your next quote?
I am ready.
Here we go. I actually just got Michael Thomas's 19 targets from his year that he broke the receptions record. Just diving into it. Being able to see how he may have ran a route that way we are learning right now. Figuring out ways to be able to get open because obviously he had a really good year that year. Who said that and why did they say this? Some confused faces on the screen.
Yeah.
Who's up?
Dustin is up.
I'm going to say this is new Saints quarterback Derek Carr on learning the Saints offense.
New Saints quarterback Derek Carr on learning the Saints offense is incorrect. Another shot at Derek Carr, one miss for each of you. JL, who said this and why did they say it?
This has got to be. What was the exact context Dustin said?
I said Derek Carr on learning the new Saints offense.
Learning the new Saints offense. Okay. I'm going to go with head coach Dennis Allen discussing Michael Thomas, his usage this year.
Head coach Dennis Allen discussing Michael Thomas usage this year is incorrect. I apologize. Well, here is the context with an opportunity for 1 point. This is someone talking about learning new head coach Sean Payton's offense. Dustin, who said this, talking about learning new head coach Sean Payton's offense?
Man, as soon as JL was thinking, I was like, oh, it's got to be someone on the Broncos. So I'm torn. Is it Judy or Cortland Sutton? Would be my guess. It's one of those two. And I think that, which one do I think is more Michael Thomas like? I'm going to say it's Cortland Sutton.
Dustin, you narrowed it down to what you viewed as a 50-50 shot here. And you picked the right option. Cortland Sutton is absolutely correct. Going to earn you an additional point, bringing you up to 6 in the chat. Was on this one. They knew Cortland Sutton said this one. Albert coming in with Cortland Sutton and then saying about being on Sean Payton's offense. Nice job. We had some other good guesses in here. Christian Watson was a great guess as well. And Jawan Johnson from Victor. I like that guess too. And Scampers going with Tim Patrick. There was an option number 3 that you didn't even consider, Dustin. It could have been Tim Patrick.
Or KJ Hamler or
KJ Hamler. Dustin, do you think this Broncos offense rights the ship this year, or is there going to be another year where we hype them up as a dark horse playoff team and then it's just like the most painful 17 games of football you've watched in your entire life?
I do think they right the ship. I don't think they're going to be a powerhouse, but I think they'll be, like I said, they're in that wild card hunt for me. I still believe in Russell Wilson. He's shown that he has a history of being good. I think 1 year is just an outlier. I'm excited for what Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton can be. I think they're both talented receivers who have dealt with injuries. We'll see if Javonte Williams comes back for week 1 and is healthy, but they've got Samaje Perine. They've got other weapons, Greg Dulcich, Jawan Johnson in that offense. I think they could be good. I think they're going to be a wild card team. I think for fantasy, I'm looking forward to having them. I'm picking up Cortland Sutton in a lot of mock drafts late just because his value is there. He could see 100+ targets. So could Jerry Jeudy. So I think it's going to be a good offense. I think they score more points this year.
I'm with you. John Luke, are you preferring one of those receivers over the other?
No, it's weird. I feel like they've gone back and forth for the last few years, and the public sentiment has really just like some years they've been on Cortland Sutton, some years they've been on Jerry Jeudy. I think they're relatively evenly talented. They have different strengths, different weaknesses, and it feels like right now Jerry Jeudy's spot on this team is a little more secure than Cortland Sutton's, but that can change this season as well. What I really want to see is which one of them starts to build a rapport with Russell Wilson. It felt like last year we never even really got to that step because whatever was going on with Russell Wilson and that administration, whatever organization, was really affecting his ability to even get to the point where they could start building that rapport.
Yeah, it is a little bit harder to buy into Cortland Sutton long-term on the Broncos with all the talks about him as a potential trade-away player for that team this offseason. So I understand that. I think I'm with you. I think that is maybe the tiebreaker that leans me towards Jeudy. And God, those routes are so clean. Like it was promised when he was coming into the league that he would run some of the best routes in the NFL. And go watch his tape. Even when he has bad games, you cannot fault that dude's route running. Now, to step away from the Broncos a little bit, I wouldn't call it a revenge narrative, but like the stereotype of after you break up with someone, they kind of get really hot, right? Like the glow up after you break up.
Right.
Are you buying into this narrative for the spurned and left in New Orleans Taysom Hill with Sean Payton over in Denver? Is he going to... Yeah, I bet he's mad. Daddy Sean didn't bring him over to Denver. I think he's going to glow up and show out. They're going to show up in New Orleans. Sean Payton's going to turn the TV on, and Taysom Hill's going to be there.
16 touchdowns first game.
Exactly. 4 touchdowns with mascara on.
Throwing them. Not a single one was run in.
You're right. Definitely not caught as a tight end. He will not be catching a single one of those touchdowns. He's going to kick a field goal while he's at it as well.
See, I can throw the whole time.
That's my bold prediction for this season. All right, Dustin, that's bumping you up to 6 points after that one. 6-0. We got 2 more quotes, though. JL, this next one is yours and a chance to come back a little bit. Are you ready for your next quote?
Yep.
Here we go. At the end of the day, it's all about respect. That is really what it is. I see the market. I'm aware of that. I feel like I'm more than that. I feel we finally got to a place where we're a successful team. We got to start winning games, and I was a big part of that. Who said this, and what are they talking about?
Oh, it sounds a little bitter. At the end of the day, it's all about respect. Who's he establishing that for? Who's he telling that to? It's all about respect. That is really what it is. I see the market. I'm aware of that. So this is somebody who is probably not valued highly on the market,
or
recognize that
lives near a grocery store. I just want to make sure you
or they live
that.
near. Yep. Yeah, they might live near. What makes it a market or a grocery store?
A market sells condoms.
What have I been buying at grocery stores?
then that's a market where you've been going. They might have mislabeled it.
At the end of the day, it's all about. Okay, I think this is going to be. We finally got to a place where we had where we're a successful team. So they're still at their same spot. I'm going to go with. Let's go with Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler talking about. Talking about the trade talks with him leaving and his outlook on the season this year for the Chargers.
Well, John Luke, that really applies here. I see it in the quote, but it's 100% wrong. It is incorrect, which means this is going to go to Dustin. Dustin, do you have a guess on this one, or do you know the answer?
I know the answer, and JL, you were there earlier. This is Saquon Barkley talking about his contract and possibly not playing this year on the franchise tag.
He's got the record to consider.
This is like he's
got to beat the record.
This is like in Cards Against Humanity, whenever like you have a really funny card that you've been holding forever, and you're like, "Fine, I'll play it now." And then the next card that comes out, you're like, "I should have held on to that one." You should have held on to your Saquon Barkley card, JL. You turned it in too early, and Dustin's going to get another point for that, bringing them up to 8-0. Getting those 2 points.
I will say that I think JL should get a point because he did get the context. It is the guy talking about his contract and staying with the team.
Okay,
but not the right guy.
I'll accept it because that is the context, right? That is the context. You know what, Dustin? That is fair and unfair of me to do it otherwise. 7-1.
That feels like a pity point.
Yeah, where's the bone?
I don't like pity points.
Throw it to JL there. I do think you got the context, JL.
Also, Scampers down here said Saquon on his contract. Nice job, Scampers, getting that in there first. Albert got it right after. And then I love this in the chat. Victor said, "Yep, Albert got it." And then Albert, always want to give credit, says Scampers got it first. Not me. Scampers got it before I did. You guys are funny.
FYF chat, too good.
All right. Well, we've got one more quote prepared. Dustin, this one is coming your way. A chance to extend the lead a little bit more before we go into vague descriptions. Are you ready for quote number 6?
I'm ready.
Okay. Quote number 6 is, first, this incredible picture of Saquon that Jay found for us.
Oh.
Wow.
If we just want to stay there for a second.
A little longer?
Just let me know when, like at Olive Garden.
When?
Yeah. Okay. Here's your next quote.
There we go.
This is the Texas Coast. We just renamed that, the quarterbacks. It's got definitely some West Coast principles, but has a little bit of what we've done in the past and just marrying them together with a lot of detail and maybe, in a sense, a system that's not out there. Dustin, who said this and what the hell are they talking about?
The Texas Coast.
Yeah.
What the hell are they saying?
So they're saying it's not the West Coast offense. It's the
genuinely
Texas
asking, guys.
I'm just trying to figure out if this is Texas as in the pro state, so Houston, Dallas, or is this a person that went to Texas to university? And I don't know.
Full cashier at Simon's Market.
At Simon's Market, yes. Not selling condoms.
No, they are. It's a market.
Oh, market sell condoms.
Markets,
we'll
yes.
go over
grocery stores, no.
What is market versus grocery store?
I like that you're Googling it.
Market sell more seasonal things, like items that wouldn't be available year round, whereas a grocery store has the same things all the time. It's a constant.
Well, that seems like a confusing distinction.
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line?
a farmer's market has seasonal produce. So I can see that. All right, I'm going to say that this is Texas Coast.
Yeehaw! I'll keep saying that every time someone says Texas Coast, if it helps.
This is CJ Stroud on the Texans' offensive play calling.
This is CJ Stroud on the Texans' offensive play calling, except it's not at all either of those things. Dustin, John Luke, or should I call you also Simon?
Oh, well, you should call me also Simon.
Who said this and why did they say it?
This was Anthony Richardson talking about his new buddies.
This was not Anthony Richardson talking about his new buddies. I'll give you the context now, Dustin. It's going to come back to you. So this is somebody talking about the new offense led by Mike McCarthy.
Oh, so this has got to be Dak Prescott then.
This is Dak Prescott.
I picked the wrong Texas team to go after.
You did pick the wrong Texas team to go after, Dustin. That's going to bring it to 8-1. But we got so many vague descriptions ahead of us that JL, you could come back and win this game. Unlikely. We are about to get into our game of vague descriptions here. Victor said Texas Coast. Say it, Simon. Yeehaw!
Yeehaw. Bob's on the Texas Coast.
Man, we got to shout out our friend Bob coming in here. Dak. Period.
Dak.
When you say Texas Coast and yeehaw, it makes me think of that picture of Joey in his cowboy hat and white t-shirt thing that he posted on Twitter.
It's pretty hot. Well, Dustin, we can only stall talking about Joey and his sexy pictures for so long before we get into your favorite game called Vague Descriptions. A reminder for everybody who wasn't here at the beginning, the score is 8-1, but we're getting into round 2 here. The game is called Vague Descriptions. I'm going to give you a category, and I'm going to vaguely describe something. You just have to tell me what I'm describing. Do that correctly, you'll get a point. Get it wrong, your opponent has the opportunity to steal. We're going to jump into our first one right away. Dustin, you're up first. Your category is NFL player. And your description is a goth kid in a new city.
That's got to be Derek Carr.
Dustin, this is Derek Carr with that eyeliner and mascara on, rocking that look in New Orleans, Louisiana this upcoming season. I feel like we've talked about him quite a bit because he was a popular wrong answer during Quotey McQuoteface, but we haven't gotten into the details of it. Do you like Derek Carr in this New Orleans Saints offense? It's an interesting transition weapons-wise from Vegas to New Orleans.
I don't hate it. I don't love it. New Orleans has decent weapons. I really like Chris Olave. If Michael Thomas can play and be half of what he used to be, 3 years ago when we last saw him play, I'm excited for what he can do there. The running back situation is murky at best, so I'm okay with Carr. I think they'll be fine. Obviously, it's what everybody assumes is going to be an easy division to win, but I'm not sure they're going to make it. I think Derek Carr is what Derek Carr is. He's that ho-hum. You're okay to have him on your fantasy team, but you don't love it. You know, in your drafts, you're going to prioritize running backs and wide receivers, and you wait on quarterback, and you're like, Derek Carr's there, I'll take him. I think that's how I feel about it. He's just he's there. He's not exciting for me.
I agree about the division. I think people are properly looking at the upside for Baker Mayfield. I think he's being viewed realistically. I think people are underrating the upside of a Baker Mayfield-led Buccaneers offense. I think we've seen...
You mean Kyle Trask-led offense?
I knew you were going to say Kyle Trask-led offense.
Yes.
But I do think the Buccaneers have got to still be the favorite to take that division. We'll see what happens, though.
I'm going to bet on Carolina.
Carolina with Bryce Young.
Dang.
Dustin, that's going to earn you a point. And John Luke, we are on to you. Same category, NFL player. Are you ready for your question?
Yep.
Your prompt is a microwaved tiger.
I have no idea what that means. Microwaved tiger? I don't know. Pass.
Pass. Dustin, do you want to take a shot on this one?
Microwaved tiger. DeAndre Hopkins?
Dustin, also known as Nuke, and went to Clemson University. This is DeAndre Hopkins.
Nice.
Gonna earn you another point, and nobody in the chat getting that one. Nice job, Dustin.
I had no clue how the Tiger fit in, but I was like, all right, you microwave something that's nuked. All right, it's got to be Hopkins.
All I kept thinking was frozen burrito, and I didn't know how to get to player from frozen burrito.
You're like, which player looks like they eat the most frozen burritos?
So, JL, in your term,
Clearly Joe Mixon.
Which player is a frozen burrito?
Clearly Joe Mixon.
Yo, Joe Mixon eats he loves frozen burritos. He goes to Trader Joe's, and like the person standing next to him waiting to get a frozen burrito, he just scoops them all out.
He's like, they just call it Traders.
Yeah, I'm just going to trade some stuff a little bit later. Dustin, that's going to earn you another point, bringing the score to 10-1 after that one. Before we move on to our next vague description, though, John Luke, I did want to ask you before I asked the Bills fan where you want DeAndre Hopkins to end up. We've talked about this endlessly. Where do you want him to end up from a fantasy perspective, and then maybe just from a NFL perspective?
Fantasy perspective, I think any team where he can really capitalize on high volume. He can beat most corners just on contested catches. So he's talented enough to really just command space in the field. And I think he needs to go to a place where, not like Arizona, where there's going to be this constant distraction of where is the ball going to go? And is everybody getting enough targets? He's the type of guy who you can really be flexible with. So maybe like Tennessee stands out to me as a great landing spot. But yeah, I think there's a number of teams.
Dustin, are you still hopeful that he ends up on the Bills and is remove your fandom from it? Is that a positive landing spot for you?
It's a super positive landing spot. As a Bills fan, I would love it. I don't think it happens. Now, the cap isn't really real. It's there, but it doesn't really affect things. They'd have to make some room to get him in there. I just don't think they can. I don't think the players would want to restructure to get that cap space for him. So I don't think he lands. That's where I want him to go. I think a good landing spot for him would be New England. Obviously, we all know he loves Bill Belichick. There's a void of top-end targets there.
Bill loves him.
Yeah, and so I think that's where he could go, and I think that's probably one of the best spots. I said when the news, broke today he was cut, I said that San Francisco was a reasonable landing spot. If he wants to chase a ring, they're in the NFC. They have a real shot of winning the Super Bowl coming out of the NFC. They've got cap space. He could go there and be a solid 2, bump Ayuk down to the 3, and that'd be a really potent offense with Nuke if they had 3. Because after Debo and Ayuk, the 49ers really have nothing in receivers. I mean, they got Kittle and McCaffrey, but if they had Hopkins, they could make a real shot at the Super Bowl this year.
I like the idea of after the last time DeAndre Hopkins played in New England, Bill Belichick caution taped off that locker and no one's allowed to use it, and he just goes and sits in it and it
smells like me.
Strong inhales. Shoots him a text like, "Hey man, been thinking about you."
Cheese.
He just sits there and he's like, microwave tiger, love it.
He's like, was just watching the highlights from that game back in 2019. Such a great catch in the third quarter. Text me back. We got Maria in the chat saying hi. What's up, Maria? Welcome in. Glad to have you here. And Craig said, if it hasn't been said already, Dustin has the high score for this game 2 for already.
It makes sense. We've played it twice.
I think
is Craig counting the morning show segments?
The twofer, I think, is as a combo where we keep score together. So probably not counting the morning show segment.
I think there was 5 of them on the sheet when I looked this afternoon.
All right. Well, guys, we are on to the next round. Dustin, I believe this one is yours. Are you ready for our next prompt? Because I'm not, because we have a question from Jake before we get in there. Jake wanted to know, who do you guys think wins the San Francisco job, Purdy or Lance? John Luke, who's taking it, Purdy or Lance?
I think it's still Lance. I still think Lance has the job when it comes down to it. We'll see if they are able to move Purdy as it gets closer to the season. I think they'll likely just keep him as a high-value backup.
What do you think, Dustin? Are you with JL on this one, or do you think Purdy wins the job?
I think Purdy gets the job. I don't think he wins. I think he's just handed to it. I think Lance is the better quarterback. I think he should get the job. I think if it was truly an open competition, Lance would win it. I don't think it is, though. I think it's just predetermined that it's going to be Brock Purdy. But I think Lance gives them that better shot at winning. I think what we'll see is Purdy come in and falter early on, and we could see a switch pretty early in the season by week 6 or 7. I'd have to look at their bye week, but if they have an early bye week, I could see that switch happening if they're not going in the right direction.
Yeah. It's not a safe job when you have a 3rd overall pick sitting right behind you and you were Mr. Irrelevant the year before. That's a pretty unsteady footing, even if he does end up winning it.
I also would like to say I saw Maria in the chat. When are we going to get her back on to play her game where she you guys played in the morning show?
Oh, the match game? Yeah, we got to do some match games sometimes.
School's got to be out soon, right? She's got to be done
the...
soon, so let's get her back on here and see some match game.
I thought you were going to bring up the time that she came on and played Fantasy Fortune with James Roday. I'm like, well, we got to get James.
Well, I'd like to see Maria back on, but I think match game was fun, and I like that on the morning show. So let's get that in the afternoon.
Yeah, we do need some more match.
Let's do it. Dustin, it is time for your next vague description. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Your category for this one is TV show, and your vague description is everyone has jaundice.
Everyone has jaundice. Oh, so they're yellow. So the Simpsons.
This is the Simpsons. Everyone does have jaundice. They're all yellow. Nice job.
I'm really sweating these. I'm like, oh no, what's it going to be?
That's going to earn you an additional point, bringing you up to 11-1. But JL, here's your next category or your next prompt. The category is musical. Musical. Are you ready?
Yep.
Mario Plant from Super Mario Brothers attacks store. And that's supposed to say Piranha Plant from Super Mario Brothers attacks store.
Mario Plant.
It said Piranha Plant the whole time. What are you talking about?
Piranha Plant that attacks.
Piranha Plant from Super Mario Brothers attacks store. Category is musical.
I have no idea. Hamilton.
Hamilton is, I wish, correct, but unfortunately incorrect. Dustin, do you have a guess at this one?
I know this one. I wish Joey felt better, and I'm glad he's on the show because me and him bond over musicals. So suddenly, JL, this is Little Shop of Horrors.
This is Little Shop of Horrors, which if you've never watched, it's a very fun musical to watch. It's going to be one additional point for Dustin. Joe, what's your favorite musical?
Hamilton.
Hamilton. It's a pretty good musical.
The one I could name. It's a single musical that I could name.
I told Scott Fish I would watch Hamilton. I have yet to do it, but my favorite musical is actually Pippin. So
Pippin? I've never seen Pippin or even heard of Pippin. Is it about Scottie Pippen?
No, it's not, unfortunately.
That'd be an interesting musical. All right. Well, we've got time for a couple more. Dustin, this one's coming your way. We're back.
There's this mine or this JL's?
This is yours. JL's was the musical one. You stole it. The category is
this
NFL.
One. What color is the sky?
Your next prompt is category NFL. Your reward for finishing a notoriously tough day.
This has to be the Gatorade shower at the end of a game.
The Gatorade shower at the end of a game is incorrect. John Luke, do you have a
game ball?
Game ball is incorrect. Dustin, this is going to come back to you for redemption. You get one more shot here.
What do you get for finishing a notoriously tough day? I'm trying to think of is it a practice? So you get the day off.
Unfortunately, that is incorrect. JL, do you want to take one more shot at this?
Or finishing a notoriously tough day. Notoriously. What is the toughest day in the NFL? What's that coach day where they all get fired?
Black Monday?
I think it's called Adam Gase Day, if I'm not mistaken.
Adam Gase Day. Your reward for finishing a notoriously tough day. Let's go with a job.
Jill, you were on the right track when you said, what's a notoriously tough day? Monday is the most notoriously tough day, and this is referring to Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football is your reward for finishing a notoriously tough day. No points on that one, but that's okay. We got a couple more prompts here. Dustin, this next one coming. No, this one is JL's. This one is JL's. JL, here's your next category. Also NFL. A bunch of Northern Williams.
Bunch of Northern Williams. Jamal Williams?
This is not Jamal Williams. Dustin, do you have a guess here?
Bunch of Northern Williams. The Detroit Lions.
The Detroit Lions is incorrect. John Luke, back to you for redemption. A bunch of Northern Williams.
Mike Williams. It's the only Williams I know. Let's go with the Green Bay Packers.
The Green Bay Packers is incorrect. Dustin's reaction on there makes me think maybe you figured it out.
It's the Buffalo Bills.
Dustin, the Northern Williams. Bill is short for William. This is the Buffalo Bills. Jay in the chat getting this one as well. Bob Harris also, didn't get that one. Just said so easy. They are going to be so mad whenever it's revealed.
Didn't do any work in the chat.
Bob Harris is even above this one. Dustin, that's going to earn you one additional point here, bringing it up to 13-1. But we got time for one.
Hold on.
Yes.
I promised Joey, he's been saying it for weeks, that I would break down the Buffalo Bills backfield for him. So he's been asking to hear my thoughts on it. So I told him I'd have notes. So I have notes. I'll just real quick.
Let's hear it.
James Cook versus Damian Harris. I'm out on James Cook this year. I'm all in on Damian Harris. Last year, the split, Devin Singletary had 177 carries. Cook had 89. They both played 16 games. We're probably looking at a similar split. Even if James Cook gets the larger share, he's going to see probably 120 carries. He just doesn't have the volume to get to where you want him to be as an RB1. So I'm all in on Damian Harris. I think we're looking at about 120 carries per guy. I think we see all the passing work going to Nyheim Hines. I think they can split some stuff. So I'm out on James Cook where he's being drafted. I'm in on Damian Harris because I think it's going to be a bigger split than people are expecting. That is for Joey Wright exclusively.
We need to cut that and then put it every time anybody asks a question about the Buffalo Bills backfield. Done. Analysis, check. Dustin's got it. Guys, we have time. We have time for two more prompts here. This one is Dustin's. Dustin, are you ready?
Yes.
The category is football. Your vague description is a Pacific transgression.
Pacific transgression. Sorry, Seattle.
Sorry, Seattle is correct. I'm just kidding. That's wrong, but I love that answer. JL, you looked frustrated. Then you looked like you nodded. Do you know the answer to this?
I figured it out.
All right.
I think I figured it out. This is West Coast offense.
This is the West Coast offense or West Coast offense. The transgression being right there, Pacific being the West Coast. John Luke, that is going to earn you a point for figuring that one out. Bringing you up to 2.
Coming back,
baby.
Coming
back.
Coming back, baby. Please call it a comeback.
Please. Please.
Please, I beg you.
Don't call this garbage time. Do not call this garbage time. All right, who went first?
All right, let's do triple points, JL, for this last one.
That's a great idea, but we're not going to do it. John Luke, here is your last prompt of the game. Are you ready?
Yeah.
A short but incomplete countdown. Your category is football.
This is Sorry?
I was just going to say it again.
This is a play clock?
This is not a play clock. Dustin, do you have a guess on this?
I was going to say play clock as well. Short but incomplete countdown.
The butt is correct, but it's not your turn.
I'm going to say...
I mean, what is the butt?
This is headed to halftime.
This is not headed to halftime. John Luke, for redemption, you want to take one more shot?
Short but incomplete countdown. Let's go with the kickoff.
Incorrect. Dustin, one last shot to extend your lead, win by 12 instead of 11.
The 2-minute warning.
That is incorrect. The correct answer is the 4-3 defense. It's a short but incomplete countdown. 4, 3, and then we didn't finish it. We stopped counting down. Dustin, you are going to be the winner of today's game by a final score of 13-2 and setting the record for this game. This is now the bar for this duel of games.
The bar.
I'm afraid I may have screwed up the record books. My bad, Craig.
Or jail. You just made your own note in the record books. Everything is now just an addendum into the books. Dustin, thank you so much for taking the time to come and hang out with us today.
Thank you, guys. I always have a blast coming on here. I always have a blast hanging out in the chat. So I appreciate the invite.
Everybody watching, if you're not doing so already, which you already should have been, but go follow Dustin on Twitter at the DUnit13. It's right there below his face, and you can find it in the description to this video, wherever you're watching. That's going to be it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time for some more fantasy football game show fun. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody. Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, chat. And thank you, I don't know, Eddie Murphy. We'll see everybody bright and early at 3 p.m. Eastern
We love you,
time
Eddie.
tomorrow. See you, Eddie.
Answer our messages, Eddie.
Come on, Eddie. It's getting embarrassing at this point.
Please, Eddie.